Hey, it's Peter Gregg, Miami, Florida. Welcome to the Christmas Room.
Sit back, relax. You are about to watch a Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human, and wonderful happens when you watch Peter Gregg.
I'm evolving into the next step with this Canon M50 camera. What's a little bit of a surprise, I'm holding the camera by hand, by the way, in my hand. We're not on a tripod, and yes, I am in the Christmas Room. There's a Christmas tree behind me. I could see myself on the LCD screen, and there's a white box around me. Now, I've elevated this from the last video. The last video that I did, I used the 15 to 45 lens. The 15 to 45 lens, I did not find it did a very good job. So now we've got the 11 to 22 lens. Both of these lenses, this one and that one, both have the same crippling factor for the M50. And that is that their minimum aperture doesn't allow enough light in. I'm now running, I've got a little more control on the camera right now than the first video that I did. That one was rather soft, and I said so. And definitely I said it in the comments pretty strongly because I was able to see what it looked like after I got it up online. So now I took control of the camera and I set it to M for manual for the video. So what's happening right now is all because of me and my control. I'm using the mics just on the camera. We haven't even gotten involved in using a Rode mic on top yet or anything to that factor. This camera is a little harder to get a control of than is normal for a Canon camera. It's a little bit befuddling. Normally the Canon camera just hits the road running. You turn it on and then you say, well, you know, it needs a few more features. Well, this one, it's not that easy to do. They've tried to make it so much like a phone. You know, I don't have a phone here. It says, hello, can I take this call, please? You know, it's a little bit difficult to use. And then for the video, I have a choice of completely automatic, which we're going to switch to in a minute, or completely manual. And there's no in-betweens because many times I like to use shutter priority because I want to set it to the shutter speed to go with the one with the 30p. I want to set the shutter be 60p, which is kind of like a standard rule of thumb for videoing. So now I'm kind of holding this, which means I can move around. I have it set, I'll turn it around so you can see, and I'll come back here. Now, it's not doing any auto ISO or anything like that. So if I'm dark, I'm dark. If I'm light, I'm light. So I'm able to walk around. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this lens. I've got it set to, let's see, I can see it on the LCD screen here, 1/60th of a second at f4. And that f4 is because that's the widest aperture that they allow me, and an ISO 3200, which is not what I'm used to shooting at. Canon needs to make a 1.8 lens that will actually shoot 1.8 and give me enough light to go in with this sensor, because the sensor is a pretty good sensor. All right, now I'm going to go walk around in the backyard. I'm going to have to switch it from the manual mode that I'm on, because by the time I walk from here and go out the backyard, I'll have to change the f-stop, I'll have to change the ISO, I'll have to change the white balance. So I ain't going to do any of that. I ain't got no time for that, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the camera, and I'm going to switch it to fully automatic, and I'm going to let it ride its own controls like I did with the other lens, the 15 to 45, which pretty much showed a poor performance. For me, it was not a good performance. So it's also not that heavy. I'm able to hold this camera. You know, I prefer to set it down, but then the camera would be down here, and that's not right. You're supposed to have the camera at eye level and possibly just a little bit higher if you can. So let's stop this recording and let's switch it to automatic, and let's do a little backyard walk with the 11mm. It's 11 to 22 millimeter lens. Hey, it's Peter Gregg, and welcome to the backyard. All right, I'm walking around. I'm holding the camera. This is the 11 to 22 millimeter lens. This is kind of like a vloggity vlogging vlog, whatever they call that stuff. And it's not super sunny. The sun looks like it's trying to come out, but it isn't coming out. Jingles is over here with me on the floor, of course on the floor. I've got the image stabilization turned on to enhanced, which is the strongest version that you can get. And this is, let me make sure I'm at 11 millimeters. That's in and that's out. Okay. So this lens is a $400 lens compared to the kit lens, which was in the last video that a lot of you guys poo-pooed right off the bat. And I can't say that I blame you, because it was not very good results. It was actually disappointing. But the camera has come down. Let me turn so the camera's not facing the sun. The camera has come down from $899 to $699. So they've already taken $200 off, and that's with the kit lens. So would I take it with the kit lens? Yes. I got the sun coming out now. Wow, isn't that nice? We haven't seen the sun because we've had a storm coming in through South Florida and then heading up into the Gulf, and we've had rain because this was Memorial Day weekend. This is not focusing on me, so I tapped on my face. That's another thing that it does, is it kind of loses me and then comes back to me. So this was the weekend I was supposed to put the fertilizer down, because being in South Florida, in Miami, I put what do they call it? Malagromanic or something like that. We call it Milo. Just look for Milo. And that's what I put down. So the lawn looks kind of nice if you want to see the lawn. We just got it cut. And there we go. We're out peeing each other at the end of the yard. Okay. Now just for safety, I'm going to tap on my face to make sure that that's where it's going to video. So where was I? So the camera's come down from $899 to $699. Now this lens is the 11 to 22, but it's f4 to let's see, 5.6. So outside, it's pretty good, honestly. It's inside where it falls down. So what do you use for your lens for inside? You're going to be up at like 3200 ISO, which is where we were shooting before. Then that just ain't no good. That just ain't no good for this size sensor. It can do it, but you don't really want to do that. So also you're paying attention to the image stabilization, by the way, because this is enhanced, which also cuts down the crop. So we go from a 1.6 crop, and we're losing crop again because we're at the image stabilization crops it again. Every step you try to do with this camera, and you're cropping the sensor again. So this is handheld. This is a backyard walk. This lens is much better than the 1545 kit lens. So he's just like standing there listening to me talk. All right, so let's go back in the Christmas room, and then we'll close this out. I have a tendency to look at the LCD instead of looking at the lens, which makes it look like I'm ignoring you, and I'm actually here for the purpose of talking to you. So let's turn the camera off, and then I'll see you in the Christmas room again. Okay, here we go. We are back in the Christmas room. So I did put it on the tripod, so this way I wouldn't have to hold it out on the end of my hand, but I can actually reach out and touch you, see? That's how close it is. I got the tripod just about sitting on the desk right here. So this was the 1122 lens. It's a $400 upgrade if you buy the camera. The camera has actually dropped in price from the time it came out, which kind of surprised me. It's like, whoa, what's up with that? So far, I'm finding the camera a little bit limited, more than I expected, a little bit harder to use. Canon is trying to make it work more like a phone, where it's got all these interactions, and I finally found where I can turn that off. So what we need to do is, in the next video, I need to put on a couple of good lenses. So the lens that you got on there right now is a $400 lens, the 11 to 22 f4 to f5.6. And it's just not good for indoors. It just doesn't work. Oh, by the way, when I just came in from outside, back inside, I had to take the camera and take it and put it back into full manual mode again, because unless I'm controlling this camera, I am not liking the output. The output is getting better with this lens. Honestly, it's taken a step forward. The kit lens, which is what you and I saw in the last video, don't want to say too many negative things, but it's not one that would be my favorite to use. Now, this 24 millimeter f1.4L lens, this is a high priced lens. So I want to try that lens on there. And I also want to switch over to putting on a higher quality mic. So we want to try that. And you know what else I have here? I have the 50 millimeter. This is a $100 lens. 50 millimeter 1.8 lens. And doesn't have USM built into it, image stabilization. But neither does the 24 millimeter. So we're going to try all those in the next video. And then we are going to take and dip our toes into the 4K ability of this camera. And when we switch to 4K, it's going to crop the image so much that instead of it being right there where your nose is, I'm going to have to put the camera probably back to where the Sony camera goes on the tripod against the wall. So we'll be using the full length of the room again. So this is a major step forward in quality. Yes, the camera has become much more interesting. One of the things that I do find that's a head scratcher is either I can be in fully automatic mode or fully manual mode, and there's no in between. Many times I like to select the shutter speed, because if I'm shooting 30p, you know, I'm going to want to double that and use a shutter speed of 1/60th to say it properly. I would like to put it in what they call TV mode, which is shutter priority. Let the camera handle the shutter, let the camera handle the aperture, and I'll handle the shutter. But we don't have that option at the M50 level. Again, it's an $899 level camera. Now $699. If you go to B&H, you can find it there. I don't know if it's a sale or what's going on, but the price is for $699. You get the camera and you get the kit lens, which is quite small and quite light. Outdoors, this does not too bad at all. Indoors, it's not too good at all. And that's because it doesn't let enough light in. So this is the 11-22, which has the same problem as the kit lens. It doesn't let enough light in. It's ironic because this is like the flip-flop of Canon. Canon has given us a good camera, and there's not a good batch of lenses to support this. So I understand they're heading towards mirrorless with a camera that they're going to release, hopefully, or announce at least this year, so they can get back into the game, because Sony has eaten their lunch. Panasonic is way ahead of the game with them. Fuji is in the horse race now. There's a few things that are limited on the Fuji, but we're doing better and better. So I did turn the image stabilization off, but I do have the dual pixel focus on. So I can actually step away and it's going to follow me, kind of like how I do all the walking around. Now the reason I'm not going to do it is because at 11 millimeters, I'm going to look like I went to the Sherwood Forest back there where the Christmas tree is. So I'm just kind of staying up near the camera. So the next one, we're gonna toy around with the higher price lenses, or I should say the full frame lenses, or the EF mount lenses. I don't have any EF S mount lenses. Nope, don't have them. So we're gonna play with that and see what that looks like. And then I really am itching to get into 4K on this camera. I know it's going to be disappointing, but I want to see if I can make it work. I will spend a lot of time, like this whole weekend I've spent tuning this camera in. Like I said, it's a surprise for Canon that I have to do that. The Panasonic cameras, I'm able to just pick it up and run with it now, and it's a surprise because on these other cameras, many times you've got to tune them into your liking. And instead now, I'm having a hard time tuning in the Canon M50. So it's just like a flip-flop. It's just a flip-flop. I don't know what to tell you. It's just a flip-flop. All right, so that's about it. Oh, Jingles is going to get the door. Peter Gregg, Miami, Florida. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye. Whoosh.
You have just watched another Peter Gregg video. Something warm, human, and wonderful happens when you watch Peter Gregg. Thank you for watching. Description of all equipment used in this video plus any notes Peter took while filming are always placed in the description box, show more box, or down arrow thingy next to the title on mobile apps. Duly noted.